I'm Mike.
And I'm Danny.
And this is PetrolRevolt. We've not got two wheels, we've not got four wheels. That can only mean we've got three, and that can only mean the Morgan three-wheeler. Unleash those 80 odd horsepower.
So obviously it's not the best of cars to drive around a track.
A good bit of fun, but the place for this car is on an A or B road, 50 mile an hour, wind in your hair, waving to other Morgan owners. Oh, another three-wheeler.
Hey! Woo!
I think that's what sums this car up the most, the journey for freedom. No constraints.
Just sit back, relax, take the views in, wind blowing through your hair.
It's freedom from a world of regulations. That's exactly what this car is. Now see if those other Morgan people ended up here.
I reckon they did.
So we've sampled the Morgan around A and B roads, we've taken it on the track. We're blessed with another beautiful day. We're back here at Caffeine and Machine. What a place to park it up, let everyone have a look at it, get their comments about the car, and just for us to sit down and have a chat about our time with the Morgan.
Yeah, it's been a lovely car, hasn't it? You know, like when we've turned up here, it's turned some heads. It's unique, it's different, and I think that's possibly one of the reasons for owning one, because they are different. They draw attention to it, and I think for me, if I had the 40 grand to not waste, but the spare 40 grand to spend, you know, it possibly is a car to have to just, you know, get in, drive down a country road and come and park it up somewhere like this, and yeah, have some people looking at it.
Yeah, this market value of this one is 40 grand, and you can get a lot of kit for 40 grand, whether it's two wheels or four wheels. So if you haven't got that much disposable income, and you know, perhaps this is going to be car 3 or 4 or 5 in a collection. If it was car 2, you'd have to really make sure that you could live with the impracticalities of this. So let's start talking about what we found really good with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, like we've been driving on B roads and A roads, you know, 50 mile an hour, and it's nice at that speed. Anything more than that, you know, it could get a little bit frightening. You could possibly get yourself in a little bit of trouble. But to be honest with you, if you just want to get in it and go for a little drive and clear your head, it's a perfect car, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty much sums this car up, because you can't use it in the wet. It struggles for grip enough in the dry, and I think we were braking down from 50 mile an hour, and it wasn't really hard braking for us, yet you could hear the tyres chirping. So just lets you know, if you take it past that limit, then it's probably going to end up in a bad day.
Well, yeah, it's the same. You know, when we took it on the track, it was it was similar, wasn't it? You know, it was great fun to drive around, but you start trying to push it, and it just tells you. But I suppose that's a good thing about the car as well, because it tells you that it doesn't want to go faster than that, you know, and you've got to drive the car how it wants to be driven and enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, that's it. Don't bother overtaking anything. Don't bother searching for the limit of handling. Just keep up with the flow of traffic, and if that was on an A or B road, 50-60 mile an hour, that's where this car is most happy. It means that you wouldn't necessarily go touring to the south of Spain in it. I couldn't see myself going up mountain passes on it. I wouldn't really want to take it on a motorway because I feel quite vulnerable. But a motorbike, don't feel vulnerable down a motorway on a motorbike. I'd quite happily cruise to the south of Spain on a motorbike, and I'd be going up mountain passes on a motorbike. So there's a lot of things that you might think that you would do in this car, but actually when you live with the realities of it, you wouldn't.
Yeah, and I think also like the difference between a motorbike and this, obviously, well, one, it has got a motorbike engine on it, but the differences are, I think on a bike you can get yourself out of trouble, you know, with the power of it. And this, well, it's not slow, but you know, you start doing, you start going over 70 mile an hour and it gets a bit rattly. And I know the top speed on it's 115 mile an hour, but I wouldn't want to do 115 mile an hour in it. That's just, like we've said, you know, you've just got to take it for what it is and enjoy it for what it is.
I've been working in cars for the best part of 30 years, and someone asked me this a couple of years ago, would you ever go out for a pleasure drive in a car? And the answer was no. I'd never just pick up the keys to a car, go out for a drive just for the sake of going out for a drive. I'd do that on a motorbike, but I'd sort of have a purpose to it. You'd be going to a cafe, you'd be going to maybe the seaside, have an ice cream, come back, whatever. There was some sort of purpose to it. I'd never do that with a car, whether it was an Aston or any of my cars. I'd go to work in them, I'd go somewhere, a restaurant, or you'd go out in it, a club meet somewhere or something, but never actually just go out for a drive without knowing where you're going to end up at the start of the drive. And I would do in this, and I'm very surprised that a car has come along and changed that in me, you know?
Yeah, you would, like, you know, like we've done on the drives and that, you can look over the countryside, and there in England we do have some beautiful countryside, and this car for that is perfect. But at first, you know, I thought like the goggles were a bit silly, but you do need them. Like, we've put the goggles on and it does make a big difference. The goggles make it more enjoyable, I think. I didn't think I would say that because you don't really look the part in them, do you? But
yeah,
it's part of the Morgan, you know. It's part of that. I suppose that heritage, and the goggles go with it, and they do make you feel a bit better in the car as well because you've not got so much wind blowing in your eyes. So you've driven a lot of cars. What's changed your mind about the Morgan to make, you know, if you had a Morgan, that you would just go out for a leisurely driving it?
Yeah, I'm very surprised the car has come along and changed that in me. Don't get me wrong, this car has got a lot of negatives to it. It's ridiculous, it's impractical. You get your luggage stolen if you leave it anywhere. There's a ton of things wrong with it, but to get it out the garage, go for a blast on A and B roads. I say a blast, 50 mile an hour. Then come back after the journey and you've done nothing, you've been nowhere. What is it? And I've been thinking about that, and the only thing I can think of is I probably reckon it's each individual's own personal sort of memories and stuff like that. But when I was a kid, my parents used to take me to this adventure playground. It was a park near Northampton, and they had like kids rides, and they had a go-kart track. And this go-kart track was a really big oval. I bet if I went back there now, it'd actually look pretty titchy. But at the time, when I was about, 7, 10, it was like massive. And I always thought to myself, when you're going round for a couple of laps in your go-kart, I wish I could just go off and go cruising, and I'm freedom and I'm free. And I think this is replicating that cobbled together go-kart. When you put your foot down on the accelerator, the engine's wobbling and it all sort of doesn't feel like a modern day car. You can feel and hear all the mechanics working, and it just remembers me to that very young memory that I had of I could get freedom in a go-kart.
Yeah, it is. I can see that, like the sense of freedom in it, and you do get that, don't you, when you drive it? I suppose with people who buy them as well, they're hand built still, aren't they? They're not mass-produced, so and they're not like your everyday car. They are different. So I can see the attraction to them. Personally, I'm not attracted to them, but I can see why people can be attracted to them.
I think Astons have got quite a cult following, a membership, and there's quite a ownership experience scene going on, owners meets and drive-aways and touring holidays, that sort of thing. And I can just imagine Morgan has got that as well. You know, when we were pulling out of our place, we saw 2 Morgans go past and it's a big wave and toot on the horn. And I can imagine that they meet up somewhere, get a little picnic set up out of the back, sit down, have a picnic, look at the cars, and then cruise home somewhere.
Yeah. Well, like you said, they wave to you, and it's stuff. It's like when I go out cycling, every single cyclist sticks their hands up to you, and you don't know them from Adam, but you know they say hello, and it's almost like you say, it's almost like a cult sort of thing, and you're part of their gang. I felt part of their gang, didn't you?
Did I have the hat on?
I don't know. No, you didn't have the hat on then. No, you didn't have the hat. So you weren't actually part of their gang then, were you?
Probably thought I was an outsider.
Yeah. You should have had the hat on, because one, you'd have been protected from the sun, and another, you'd have been part of their gang.
Right, so that just about concludes our time with the Morgan. So I think we've summed it up as you wouldn't take it on track. You wouldn't really go above 60, 70 mile an hour in it. You don't really want to brake heavily in it. You don't want to rely on grip from the front tyres. But you can have a mega amount of fun going nowhere in it.
Yeah, exactly. And you can go out, get the wind in your hair, and put a smile on your face. So I suppose that's the main thing, isn't it? Not the wind in Mike's hair, but, you know, Mike's more streamlined. So you kept this a secret from me, and you told me it had power from the rear wheel. I wasn't quite expecting this, but you said that the next one's a twin.
I was very specific, power from the rear wheel.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to be some... We did the booster last. You thought, right, what comes after a booster? You know, something mighty, but we had power at the rear wheel.
Yep, I thought it was going to be a little bit faster than this, but anyway, you got to go at a slow speed at some point in your life. But next we got...
Well, twin turbo is all I'm going to say.
Right.
You're going to have to keep you on suspense for that next car. And I've got you thinking now.
Yeah, you have got me thinking, yeah. Well, I suppose I'll just have to wait and see, and see what the next episode brings us.
Retro twin turbo is all I'm going to say.
Right, well, I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to the next couple of days of filming.
So that's a wrap for our time with the 3-wheeler Morgan. Really hope you've liked that little series that we've shot on the Morgan, and if you'd like to see more, then hit the bell notification button after you've subscribed so you never miss a PetrolRevolt episode. If you haven't already done so, then go over to our website, subscribe on there to get your PetrolRevolt black registration plate sticker. Photo it, post it up on our Facebook group page, then you are the PetrolRevolt. Right, time to get this back to the garage. You're driving, I'm going to relax in the passenger seat.
Let's go. Visit the website to find out more about the track days and obviously this cool merchandising. You know, we've got some pretty cool stuff.